Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we're back on the map Onyx Cauldron. Such a lovely map this is. It's a very well balanced map and just not very nice looking in general. So we have, as you've probably seen before, started raised positions here. Both players have 3 metal extractors with some immediate expansion here to the left and to the north of them. A lot of crystals in this start position here, meaning that a lot of players will open bots in order to get the crystal reclaim as well as the Trico. And it's a pretty valid move, to be honest with you. And as we zoom on out, we have the cauldron itself, which is in here. Extremely hard to break into this once you've lost control. So quite a lot of fighting happens over who contests and who controls this. If you build up a defense along your opponent's side, it is very difficult to get back in there. You'll have to use air or maybe even crawling units like termites, for example. Now, on the other areas of the map, we have this area here, as well as a kind of path through the water and other side of the pond kind of section here. Now, often along the top side, it's generally ignored. Now, there are quite a few metal extractors here, but nowhere near as much as what's in the cauldron. And being how open it is, it's relatively hard to contest. Saying that, though, there is basically just these 3 lines that are the path points. As long as you hold those areas, it's relatively easy to defend, especially like if you're holding here, for example. As long as you hold this and that, for your opponent to drag along the bottom and get round behind, kill everything, it's a long way for them to go. They're probably just going to push straight through the front of you. But anyway, as we zoom on, let's have a look at our contenders today. We have Austin here in blue playing Cortex. And as we said earlier on, starting with the bot lab and their opponent, the Lord Vedor, back on the channel from last week, playing as Cortex again and also going bots. And we can see the reclaim happening here with the Grave Robber already out, getting all of the energy crystals on the map. He's actually missed some in the corner there, which he literally just noticed and has queued up the other ones separately. Now, the crystals do have a tiny bit of metal in, not really enough to write home about. This one's the most, you can see, with 25, but with 500 energy, works out more efficient than trying to get all these trees. But obviously, trees are more abundant, and also, well, trees set fire if you shoot at them, so you kind of need to just be careful of that when you're actually fighting. You can kill your opponent's Trico. Now, Austin investing a lot more into defenses here in this early stage, with an LLT being built in between these 2 left-hand side units, as well as one planned on the right, whereas his opponent, Lord Vedor, here completely abandoning that idea, not building any defenses on this left-hand side. Does plan to build one on the right, though. But with Austin's units already making their way over the entire map, we can see that maybe this early Resbot and Constructor may get killed by these grunts. The Resbot desperately trying to heal up the Constructor and doing a good enough job to keep it alive. Now, that does mean that Vedor has definitely invested more in economy in this early stage to not have any units to push across this far. But looking at the numbers, doesn't look like he's done that good of a job. The difference here being that Austin has decided to push forward with his commander, using the build power to slowly get out and use it to build up defenses as well as metal extractors and such. Whereas his opponent is completely keeping the build power in the base, assisting the factory with the idea to get more units out quicker. Now, we are starting to see that number, I was about to say creep up, and then it went down, which is typical for you. But you can just see the stream of grunts coming out of the base on the minimap is a lot. And the army value is slowly ticking up now, back up to 10%. Both players on the same amount of metal income here. And as both players are Cortex, Grunts are going to be able to fire at the same distance as each other, so there's no kind of kiting. These units are not going to be able to skirt around the commander, but this does mean that Austin's commander is now in the pocket. Question is, will he be able to hold it? But also, we see Vedor here pushing along this top line. Now, there is a construction bot that did head up there. And Vedor has actually started also moving out with his commander, noticing that Austin has done the same. But as of yet, so far, the only one losing any economy is actually Austin. And Vedor doing very well there to focus his units on basically fighting rather than like a 8v5, focusing in it to be more like an 8v1 as he approaches very smartly with his units. As I say that, he literally runs them into getting completely surrounded. So you can only see so much with Grunts, and because of that, he did what he could. But Austin having to invest into a lot of laser towers here to try and defend this initial point. You would have thought the commander would have been enough. This is a very blingy looking commander with a helmet and a medal. But a well-positioned Grunt along the top here, just providing vision for future needs. And as we see what both players can see, only early radars. No radars along that north side just yet. The res bots are already there, resurrecting everything that was killed. And this is quite a lot of Grunts. As we quickly switch over, he is not aware that there's a bit of an expansion here, and this will get annihilated quickly if Austin decides to go on to that. However, with the more volume of Grunts, Vedor will probably come out that victorious, literally twice the amount of Grunts right now. But Vedor does have everything contained in a single blob of units, whereas Austin rather, splitting them up considerably. We see here again Vedor trying to take more of like a one-on-one or like a 5-on-1 situation rather than going into a big fight. Now, as we quickly switch it over to the bases here for a second, we can see that Austin here has decided to go into air with the use of shurikens. Very, very smart move, as obviously shurikens are extremely strong. Whereas his opponent has actually decided to go into thugs instead. Now, potential problem for Austin here, as he has two different groups of opposing units getting pretty close to him. And when we look at the view of Austin, he is aware of them, but here come the shurikens, and that will put a very, very abrupt stop to any ideas of attacks. Now, Grunts don't do too bad at shooting down shurikens. Remember, in Bar, pretty much any unit can shoot air. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good at it, but they can technically do it. So he can't just keep the shurikens right on top of the Grunts, because they will eventually shoot the shurikens down. But this is enough of an EMP damage, as a lot of Grunts now being taken out. Again, very lucky that this guy has just been left on his own to build that armed metal extractor. Meanwhile, in the middle, in this bottom corner here, you can see Vedor's comm pumping out air defenses as well as LLTs. He has made sure that Austin can't control the entirety of it, but there is a lot of Grunts rather in this hull, and surprisingly a complete transition out of bot lab entirely to actually go into air now, which is very, very surprising. And as we see scouts coming out from Austin here, don't know exactly what he's going to end up seeing. What's his thoughts? He doesn't actually see the base, which is a big deal here. He knows he's got air. Oh, here comes a second scout, though. Which doesn't manage to see anything. That's important. Because what that means now is Austin is not aware if Vedor is going Tech 2 or not. Now, with the unit counts being spread a bit thin on both sides, it would be a bit dangerous to go for a Tech 2 transition right now. But what he does know is he basically can't go into bombers because they're not going to really get in, especially with the amount of fighters that Vedor already has. And both players actually just kind of ecoing up a little bit. As we look over the bases, we can see the reclaiming of solar panels here to get that metal back by Austin. Slowly just reinvesting that into more and more windmills. With wind being a max of 29 on this map, you'd be crazy to not build winds. You do need to make sure you've got energy storage though, in case the wind dies. Some people would argue that maybe more than one energy storage on this map would be valuable, but both players only with one at this time. Now, surprisingly, Lord Vedor does have all of his energy here grouped up. Oh, and Lord Vedor's actually decided to completely remove the air lab entirety and transition back to bots with a bunch of thugs now. I would say maybe vehicles might be good here, but that would, of course, limit you to your movement paths. For example, this entire hill would be completely not reachable by you if you have vehicles. And with your opponent going bots, that, as you can see here, with the grunts completely able to just move over the hill, you're going to be very hard pressed to defend against any of that. Now, as that radar goes up along the north side near the geo point, Austin's forces come in one by one, and that is not good for Austin as he again takes basically a 1v20 or so and loses a lot of units, and also losing that very high-end geo point. For now, at least, as more shurikens are planned to head over there, as well as more grunts. Meanwhile, along the Cauldron side, Vedor's comm not particularly in a tough spot here, but with pushing with just thugs into rocket bots, he is going to be taking a lot of damage. Comm is there basically just to kind of provide support and heal up his thugs. He does kind of need to just kind of go in on it though. The more damage he takes from long range over a long period of time, the worse he's going to be. He does have a significant unit advantage already with 17 versus only 5 rocket bots. All he's got to do is go in on it. He could be worried about the shurikens. Also, there's one air constructor on the north just getting reclaim here. Not really much you can do with that. Now, one thing you can actually do with this is there's a lot of wind that can be built in those hills. But the thugs finally make their move. They've managed to catch one rocket bot out, taking down those LLTs in seconds. The main thing here is who's going to get that reclaim. And right now, it does seem to be Vedor. Austin pushing back, not willing to commit more forces to that. He doesn't have the right forces really to deal with this many thugs. And as we quickly look over to the base now, we can see the reason for that is because of a transition over to Tech 2 by Austin. And that has put him with a severe lack of units. However, you can already see that economy-wise, it is paying off big time. And a lot of the numbers currently in the blue due to that change. Now, question is how much room can Vedor make in that time, and how much reclaim can he get? He's already got most of it, as you can see, but he has also transitioned over to Tech 2 himself. But rather than going for a very heavy economy and just pumping everything into economy, which is currently what Austin is doing, he is deciding to still build combat units, go for some fiends, hoping that he can deal with those units that are coming in. Now, the thugs do try and make their way into this bottom corner to contest the Geo. A lot of double LLTs here and some build power as well to keep those units alive, or the turrets alive, but not enough as the overwhelming force of thugs makes their way in. Now, not really being controlled, these units, just kind of sent on a line, hope for the best. But that is a lot of reclaim. And if we can find a unit, 1.6k reclaim, 1.7k reclaim. So almost half the cost of a Tech 2 factory. But with a bunch of Twitchers rushing out, you can see he's actually just building mines with them. Okay, fair enough. We were talked about this in the comments a little while ago. The mental impact that mines have. If Vedor walks on one of these mines, he has no idea what they are. He is pretty much going to instantly pull back. He's not going to want to push any further. Not only that, but he's going to obviously lose a big chunk of his units if they're all grouped up. These medium mimes pack a punch. But Fiends leading the charge along the north, managing to take out more and more build power of Austin here. And this is a bit of a problem for Austin, as he's definitely lacking units here by putting so much into his build power for such a long time, and his economy he is lacking when it comes to actual combat force. And it seems that rather than pushing in any more, Vedor deciding to just kind of pull back, deal with this outcome, and then pull back. He kind of doesn't want those units though to be caught out, which is why he's sticking around with them for a little bit. Although not enough. This Fiend will get destroyed. He's just going to sacrifice them. But both players, let's look at the map bases very quickly. Look how many windmills there are here. All spread out into separate groups here, just in case they get hit. No fusions built yet, but here's one planned straight away. Build power spread out. This is one thing I'm noticing a lot of the pros do, which I honestly don't do, which I probably should see in this. Most players clump up their build power right next to their base, but you'll see a lot of the pros spread out their build power quite a lot. Just so that in situations like this, and when you're trying to expand and build a bunch of windmills, having your construction turrets out, which have a lot more build power, probably better than having a bunch of construction bots assisting a single construction bot. Not only that, but then if ticks or something gets through, you know, these can reclaim or repair stuff if they get damaged. So pretty good use. Also, we see a transition over to Sheldons now from Vedor, starting to amass a small group of them. Not really enough to write home about, but this bottom corner was completely claimed by Lord Vedor. And also Tech 2 defenses now also being built by Austin to help secure his position here. Now, if those Tech 2 Sheldons start making their way down, these will not do anything, as they'll just get outranged. But kind of a bit of a no man's land along the top. We can see more mines planned to be built here, and there's a decent force along the top that kind of won't really do anything, as soon as they run into mines, they'll get killed. But this force here just kind of sat doing nothing. There is a big hole. Like, he could just literally go like this, and realistically, forces wouldn't be able to get there in time. Also, I'm surprised that Vedor's kind of leaving this middle section open entirely. And we can instantly see what I was talking about, where this Scorpion isn't going to pop up at all, and these guys are just going to be able to outrange it. Now, he does have a problem of radar wiggle. We can see that he thinks he's hitting it, But in reality, he's hitting nowhere near it. So what he does need is he needs vision. And this radar bot, if it was literally where one of the Sheldons was, he'd be able to see it and it wouldn't be a problem. Also, what he could do with building is some of the like radar wobble, pinpointers. But alas, none of those just yet. Now, as a casual thing I note, if you weren't aware, anything that pops up, if it's not popped up, it takes less damage. So the pop-up artillery has increased armor, so does the scorpions, and something that actually never gets used is the pulsar actually has a pop mode. Oh, that's a pretty good play here by Austin. Building a pop-up artillery on this northern side is just going to make all of this up here completely redundant. Doesn't matter if you've got all the LLTs in the world, but one artillery is just going to outrange everything. And just the slow creep of pop-up turrets will be enough to secure that area for a while. And another one actually built in a really strong position here up on this hill. Huh. Yeah, and someone else being a defensive scuttle. You very rarely see these. Cloaky bombs. They are pretty powerful. When they explode, they do a substantial amount of damage. So we'll see how he plans on using them. And as we look over bases, we zoom in again. More plans, probably to build some scouts to see what's going on, as Air Factory is just finished from Austin here, pumping out just a ridiculous amount of Twitchers right now. Twitchers with a pretty decent build power of 125 as opposed to 180 of a advanced constructor, but look at the cost difference, literally half the metal and almost half the energy. Not only that, but they are extremely quick with a speed of 90 as opposed to 33 of the advanced constructor bot. Definitely worth building if you just need build power quickly. And are they all going to... Wow, that is going to be a lot of build power on this one advanced constructor. Question is, what is his plan? Currently, it's just literally set to go in front of him. And interestingly enough, Vedor sending all of his fighters in here. They plan to try and scout. What did Vedor actually end up seeing here? Is surprisingly quite a bit. Managed to see the anti-nukes, see the Tech 2, but Vedor with Tech 3 and Shivas ready to go. He realizes how far behind he is economy-wise, though, with that scout, because he can see there's at least 2 fusions, plenty of windmills, whereas Vedor still only on a single fusion. Vedor controlling about half the map, and it seems the fighters were pretty much microed to deal with scouts, which he was quite impressed with. Oh, some very good position pop-up artilleries here. This is going to slowly but surely push Vedor out of this cauldron. There's not much really he can do about this. Thing is, I don't think he minds. His plan right now is to build up a decent chunk of Shivas, which ironically are going into the exact same hole as this explosive bot. And oh, are we going for a boom? No boom? No boom. What will arrive in like 5 minutes? enough Shivas, maybe. How does Vedor not see that bomb? Oh, you just see that one shot put a Shiva down to 12% health. Huge amount of damage inflicted by that Suicider. Meanwhile, as well, as we switch off player view, a steady push into the top here, but a Cerberus actually being built here, which will cause a lot of problems for Vedor if he's not careful. Another Scuttle almost manages to make its mark, but all of the forces along the north actually get taken out. Focus completely on the tech-free micro here right now, which is a very smart move. With one of them only at 3% health, he needs to be extremely careful with them. This water not deep enough to hide. He does not want to leave this wreck of this Shiva with only 300 health. Oh, that's what he said. Okay. So, Sneaky Kraganath. The question is, will Sneaky Kraganath make it? This is exactly why he's building so many Shivas here. The intention being to completely focus the attention of Austin on this north side. The problem is, he's dealing with these skulls is a pain in the butt for him. And he's not really making a move. He kind of needs something to field for them. And the Cerberus is going to control this northern side now. And look at the amount of mines around as well. Slowly but surely, this match is being ran away by Austin. Very, very lucky for Vedor here. Austin does not spot the Sneaky Kraganath. It was literally tucked behind here as the spy plane flew over. So Austin still not aware of Vedor's plan. But as more and more stealthy stuff gets placed, we can see that Vedor just kind of playing it very defensively. I'm surprised he's kind of not making more of a push with this tech free. I know his plan to win is the Kraganath. And it looks like he's actually building termites here to push over the wall. But... oh, is he going for... he's going for the anti-nuke. Right, okay. So Vedor's plan, sneak around with the Kraganath, destroy the anti-nuke, and then nuke the base. Now, the question is, will the nuke be done in time? Nuke is currently a third of the way, but Kraganath is well over a third of its way there. Finally making a bit of a push here. He could really do with just kind of pulling these back quickly, healing them up, and then pushing out again. He has the build power, right? Let's quickly pull them back, heal them up, push them out again. Or at least pull back the damaged ones, because like these three are like basically one-shottable at this point. Oh, is he literally doing that? He is literally doing that right now. It's like you can hear me. Oh, does Austin know? He's about to. As the thermites are just trying to make their way into the hills to make their way around. Austin now spots the Kraganath on its final approach, in essence. And the Kraganath kind of needs like line of sight to really shoot here. And we'll see these termites will kill this Kraganath really quickly. And rather than let it die, he actually self-destructs it there in order to deny a reclaim. Now, what will be Lord Vedor's plan now? With the Kraganaf destroyed, his plan to shoot the anti-nuke is gone, leaving him with a nuke launcher that's pretty useless. He does have a lot of Shivas. Just kind of surprised he's not wanting to push them elsewhere. He could probably push quite effectively around there. Oh, here comes the nuke. Where's it going? Oh, hitting right in the middle front line. And this is it. He's going to nuke the front line and push straight through. And as we zoom in on the nuke, huge damage. All the nukes completely destroyed. And the bulwark basically with no health left. Here comes the big final push from Vedor. With all of the defenses spread across the entire map here, it's going to be difficult for Austin to stop this effectively. One Spybot does manage to catch a decent group of 5 Shivas, but they weren't really prepared for all of them to come barreling down the middle. Not only that, but there are grunts here to support. Oh, but a lot of gunships. And not enough fighters from Vedor here. The question is, how far will these Shivas get? This is an all or nothing play right now from Vedor. These need to hit home, otherwise it's game over for him. Drastically pushing out as much gunships and shurikens as he can. But Shiva's just edging closer and closer. Some build power now starting to get killed, but the Shivas will not make it. No, the Shivas do not make it. And all but one remaining. Getting some wins, but realistically, not enough to end the game. Now, he does know about these making their way around. And he already has a couple of Kraganafs. The question is now, who's going to get the reclaim? Which is pretty obvious. It's going to be Austin. With 13k, 15k right here. He needs to get that as quick as he can. But also, more air needs to be built here by Vedor. Surprisingly, he's not building just Thrashers at this, but instead choosing to build Grunts. Gunships would have done pretty well at dealing with these high terrain units, shall we say. It's taken a while for him to be able to deal with these. Question is, what is Austin going to do now? We know Vedor's plan. Oh, a mine gets a huge chunk of grunts. And I'm just keeping an eye on this very quickly. Not really that important anymore, but a Kraganaf does get killed by just these termites alone. Shows how pretty good these termites are. Well, one of them manages to make it through. Vedor's comp is there. Oh, a long-range shot from the Shiva, just enough to deal with it. And no more of those will manage to make it through. The gunships, though, stopping this grunt push along the top. But huge amount of reclaim left in the base, currently not even getting dealt with. Twin guards just being drastically put up to stop these grunt pushes in. Interesting nuke. I'm guessing he was thinking he had a bunch of windmills or stuff in the back corner. Plenty of nukes in that stockpile. Now, this is a lot of gunships to deal with. He needs, he's going to need a lot. Vedor's plan to win now is... I don't quite know what his plan is. He's got no nukes left right now because he just wasted one. And he is just building just Krakenafs. Krakenafs do have air defense. But when it comes to economy, Austin is very far ahead. Not only that now, but you can see he's prepped a bunch of res bots here. Not actively using them at the moment, but if he resurrects all these Shivas, that is a lot. There we go. And the resurrection started. If he reses all of these Shivas, there's not really much Vedor could do to stop him. No economy damage was really dealt, and now with 5, about to be 5, advanced fusion reactors and a second anti-nuke also being built, the economy-wise is just shooting massively on Austin's side. Whereas when we zoom over here, see all the resource production is basically going into producing units right now, with only 5 fusions built by Vedor at this point in the game. And just look how quick these grunts get absolutely annihilated by those gunships. Grunts just aren't gonna cut it anymore. You can say both players kind of playing it pretty safe right now, though. Not really making much of a move. To be fair, this is all Austin's game to lose. Vedor did a tremendous attempt at trying to push in there, but it just wasn't enough. And with all of these shurikens, not shurikens, sorry. There are a lot of shurikens. But with all these Shivas now rebuilt, it's going to be pretty difficult for Vedor to hold off against that. Not only that, but if this ever gets built, it will be hilarious. It won't, but it will be hilarious. This will be a lot of long-range plasma cannons. As we zoom out to get a bit of an overview, the nuke does take out a lot of build power. Doesn't take out the gunships though, or any of the Shivas. Also, a lot of mines and fences were killed. There was a lot of air build power up there that was taken out. But his still biggest problem is these grunts aren't able to really do anything because of all these gunships. Take them out way too quick. Also, they're going to die very quickly to all of the Shivas. Just like you saw just then. Wouldn't surprise me he's sending these purely to distract. Trying to take some damage off of his main units here, but the gunships quickly dealt with that passing by grunts. And now the Shivas just pushing Vedor further and further back. Vedor with only 3 tech-free units left. 4, sorry. Opposed to 12 Shivas that Austin still has left. Austin with a ridiculous amount of metal just kind of stockpiled right now. Who wins in the battle of Shiva versus Krakenath? Well, probably Shiva's in this rate. But Austin being forced back. The problem with being in this line formation like this is this bottom one hasn't really been able to fire at all. But here come the gunships. Vedor's comm is right on the front lines here. And no air defense units here at all. Here come the fighters. It'll be very good for him to finally take out all of those gunships, which he does manage to do. Not only that, tries to pull some of the fighters back, doesn't manage it. But a mixture of Tech 1 and Tech 2 units, Tech 1 and Tech 2 fighters rather, being used. You can see the aircraft here trying to get some of this reclaim. This is a lot of reclaim to be left here. Nowhere near enough to bring Vedor back up to the same level as Austin, but still plenty of anti-nukes though gone up now. We can see pretty much the entirety of the area completely covered by anti-nuke. Now, this anti-nuke doesn't actually have a anti-nuke in it yet. And you can see the huge amount of res bots just sat there right now. Oh. The anti-nuke was just finished as the nuke went off and getting a tiny bit of wind damage there. There's a little bit of economy damage, but unfortunately for Vedor, Austin already has 8 advanced fusions. That one nuke is not going to be, that one set of windmills is not going to be anywhere near enough to write home about. And all the gunships are also now back in action. And Vedor just kind of running into a bit of a brick wall. He wants to build something a bit more in depth, but the problem with building something like that is it would take forever. And right now he needs units. He is getting up quite a large amount of Shivas again. And the explosions left and right just dealing with a bunch of the grunt spam coming out. Kind of the problem for Vedor right now though is this is all well and good, but he's still not got anything mixed in there to deal with air, relying purely on his fighters. But when it comes to fighters, his opponent does have a lot more. Finally getting a bit of vision. Scouts get instantly annihilated by the flags. And as we quickly see what Vedor's working with information-wise, little does he know the amount of advanced fusions down here. But surprisingly, Austin here could quite easily go Tech 3 if he chose to. Instead, still ecoing up. And just getting more and more and more ahead. Whilst on the other end, we see Vedor basically kind of fighting for his life. He is also being able to build up on his own pretty well here. And interestingly enough, all of these have been set to hold fire. What are they targeting? A fusion that he is aware about. And as they fire, the first shot, one misses, one hits. Oh, there goes a bunch of energy converters. The nuke goes up. Vedor now needs to make a move. He's going to start losing his energy production. The anti-nuke is not ready yet again. Will it land? Oh, it does, and all of those long-range plasma cannons just get absolutely destroyed, leaving a dent in Vedor's base. And we see Austin here. We click Austin quickly. Still with 8,000 worth of metal, just sat doing nothing. He's invested a lot into economy and not really a lot into units. He could really do with actually trying to make a bit of a play for Tech 3 himself. Fighters going ahead of the gunships here to try and intercept all of Vedor's gunships, fighters, sorry, and completely wins the air battle. And the problem of Vedor not mixing in any anti-air into those grunts means that these gunships are able to just completely fire at will at all of these Shivas, pushing them further and further back. And because of that, Vedor calls GG. Which, to be fair, when looking at the stats, pretty much a no-brainer. But Austin taking his sweet time to actually enact a plan to win, deciding to just completely defend until the end. A little bit of a letdown. Kind of wanted Austin to actually do something, but still ends up winning, completely outscaling his opponent. We look at the stats here. Metal reduced. See, it just started ticking further and further away, and when energy-wise, you can see a huge difference. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.